What's up? How you doing? Here we are, Thursday evening, dinner time. Chicken on skewers. I have more, but so I left it inside all day, marinating, and smells great. Gonna put it together. I don't know. Today I get up in the morning and I was thinking, when are they gonna make the Wonder Twins movie? But I want it to be in the reality we live in. I don't want it to be this fantasy reality that they're constantly making these superheroes exist in. Those movies suck. I'm not fascinated with them at all. Remember when Christopher Reeves played Superman and he existed in the reality we exist in? Now they make it all fantasy land. So anyway, I'd like to see that, and I'd like to see a movie with Mxyzptlk. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but anyway, I got to touch this stuff. Let's start off down here. Like a little Christmas tree. Yeah, smells good. Have the Colonel's secret ingredients. I don't know if I'm going to use these again. Very limited. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 7, 8, 9. I guess it's not limited, but we'll see how it works out. It's my first time using these. And we put one on top like a star. So that's that. I'd like to go fishing. I was thinking of going this weekend, but maybe next weekend. For one reason, I haven't gotten the sea worms, which is what I'm going to use this time, because last time I took my daughter fishing, I brought along the tackle there, you know, like a fish doll. Looks like a fish, you put it on, it has a hook inside. But, you know, what fish is being fooled by this? I think a fish would look at that and say there's something wrong with that, that bait doesn't look right. And I don't think a fish would call it a bait. A lot of helicopters. Anyway, getting back there to Mxyzptlk. I remember that character. He would trap you or something inside, I don't know, like a weird world. And then something about saying his name backwards would make him go away. Mxyzptlk. And they said it, but I don't think it was the right way, backwards. Wonder Twins. They had the Wonder Twin powers. That was a, you know, cool, I don't know much about them, but they were like twins, right? Wonder Twins. That's why they came up with that name. And they would say Wonder Twin powers activate, and they would do like a bump with the fists, and then you'd have, I think Zeke, what was his name there? The male, he would say form of water or something like ice. He could be an ice ladder, and she had the better stuff. She could turn into a gorilla, a dinosaur. You know, I'd rather have her powers. Even, you know, a form of water. No big deal. Anyway, we got some jumbo jumbo bamboo skewers here. So my initial judgment on this is that I will not use them again. As a matter of fact, I may not use them today. I'm going to re-skewer these. They suck. I regret getting them because they don't hold on. Everything's falling off. Look at that, how easy that is. Very annoying, you know, they fall off and you go to cook them, they won't stay. So we're going to repeat this. It smells good though. Comes right off. Okay, so somebody's texting. Scene 1, take 2. Anyway, we continue here. Yeah, this is much better. Yeah, I'm kind of fed up with these superhero movies, and okay, the superhero is fantasy, but in my time, he existed in our world. Now it's like magical, different dimensions, and even back then, if they had an issue and had to add a dimension, it was a small part of the story, and it still looked like you were in the reality we live in today. Now it's all, you know, ridiculous. Tough to get into these things. And I will say that I hate Star Wars. I don't know how that movie became so popular. I don't know. Just awful. Boring. Stupid. You know, I understand the first one was in '77, right? Star Wars. And the special effects were not that great. But even the story, awful. I dread it when a new Star Wars related movie comes out, because my wife drags me to see this thing. And you know, for me, if I knew somebody didn't like I don't know, Ishtar, and I said I'm gonna go see Ishtar, and let's say there were like 10 sequels, I'm gonna go see all 10 sequels, and I knew that person didn't like that movie Ishtar, even though I love it, I would not take them. I'd say stay home, watch some TV, play Connect 4, but I wouldn't take them. And I would go during the day, you know, or a weekend matinee. Remember matinees? When I was little, like 11 years old, 12, around there, I would go to the movie theater on my own. Like, I'd go with others, but if there was no one around, I didn't have a problem going by myself. So I would go there, and I wouldn't check out any previews or read anything about what movies were out. I would look up on the little board there, and I would just by name pick something that was interesting. And I remember one time I ended up seeing a movie that to this day I like, Breaking Away. I was into bike riding back then, and it kind of spoke to me. Breaking Away. Dennis Quaid was in that. A lot of people. But good movie. And then another time I did that was A Soldier Story. Just bought a ticket. I said, give me that one. And I want to say, I had a friend of mine one time. He said, let's go see a movie together. And I said, sure. So and I said, which one? And that was the whole thing. He was going to surprise me. So he didn't tell me which one. He goes, you'll see. He goes, I'll get the ticket, and don't look, you know, what it says on the wall there. Just go in and sit down, and then watch it. And we had to sneak in because we were underage. We snuck in. We sat down. I was like, "What is this movie?" Had no idea. So it turned out that the movie was First Blood. And I don't know, it happens once in a while, but that movie pulled me in, and it spoke to me. I could relate to the character, and I loved everything about it. The scenery, Hope, Canada, British Columbia there. Everything about it. The solitary existence of this man, and I connected with it immediately. Now, I can't say the same for the other Rambo movies. I did not connect with those at all. I mean, I watched them. They were entertaining, but they weren't that good, But the first one, I liked that one. And I actually went and I visited the filming locations in Hope, British Columbia. So anyway, yeah, we went in there to see it, and I remember the usher came in, make sure there was no underage kids, and we were underage by a few years, but I don't know, you let us stay. Kicked out some other kids, I remember. And we were like, "Oh no, don't kick us out." So he let us stay, and that movie got my attention. Like the fact that Stallone has very little dialogue in there. I feel that the movies that he speaks the least in are the ones that his character, his personality fits in better with. Even Rocky, I mean, yeah, he spoke once in a while, but a lot of times he was quiet. Rocky, when I first got, cameras and stuff, I wanted to go and find all the locations of the Rocky movies that were filmed out here. The exterior shots were filmed in Philly for the most part, except in Rocky 3 and Rocky 5. No, Rocky 5 had some Philly shots too. But anyway, Rocky 1 was entirely shot outside. All the shots were in Philly, but the interior shots were all here. And so I went around and I found all these places. I found the place where Rocky takes Adrian for ice skating. And I found the place where Paulie worked, Shamrock, their meat. Found that place. Found the church where the opening scene for Rocky 1 is. Found that place. I found... What else did I find? Rocky. Well, I found the area where the apartment was, but that I think burned down before I got there years ago. But I found the block, found that area. Trying to think what else was inside. Oh, Mickey's Gym. That's right, Mickey's Gym. So Mickey's Gym, the interior shots were filmed downtown LA on 5th Street, and now it's not that anymore. Now it's a parking lot. But that was an actual place. It wasn't a set. It was an actual gym, famous. A lot of champions, Muhammad Ali trained there. But I don't know if it burnt down and they made it into a parking lot, but it's a parking lot now. What else did I find? And then, Rocky 3, I found Lorraine's, the hotel where they go to train. I mean, where they kind of want to rough it so that they toughen up Rocky. And Paulie's there sleeping with a newspaper on his belly. Found that place. And I found the place out in Santa Monica where he races or runs with Apollo. Found that place. I've been to the place out in Philadelphia where the statue was. So yeah, but you know, even that, the first movie, awesome. Second one, pretty good. You know, I mean, what else could you do with that? You know, he's gonna somehow fight for the title. And 3 was pretty good. Then 4, it was entertaining, but once again, it was getting ridiculous. You know, with these plots, the power punches. But I saw that. I remember when I went to see that one, had a friend, his name was Mike. Not Mike from the cereal commercials, another Mike. And we were in math class, and Rocky was coming out that day. And I said to him, hey, you want to go see Rocky 4? And he goes, sure. So, it was starting to do a little snow that day in the evening, and I ended up getting my father's station wagon, because I was cool. I got my father's station wagon, and I went down to the place where my friend lived, and I picked him up there, and we drove to the cinema. But when we got there were no seats available, except for 2 in the front row, in the middle. And I hate seeing movies in the front row, especially back then, because they would put the front row right up against the screen, and your head would be like, you know, like whiplash. But we wanted to see it, and so we ended up getting those tickets, and we sat down, we watched it, and to this day, I have this memory of me sitting there with my head, you know, all the way back, looking up at the screen, watching Rocky 4. And we liked it. We got in the car, like, oh, that was... I know we knew it was ridiculous, but we just liked the whole thing. The training, climbing the mountain there in one shot. Didn't run out of breath at all. You know, yelling out Drago. You know, then he grew that little beard. Adrian came to see him, surprised him, had no idea she was coming. Nobody tipped him off. Like, this guy is clueless on everything. First of all, in Rocky 3, he's unaware that Clubber Lang exists. Doesn't even know. This guy's ranked #1. Rocky doesn't know anything about this guy. Mickey's hiding the information like Rocky's on an island somewhere without any television. Never heard of Clubber Lang. And he's ranked #1. And I don't know why they have Clubber Lang as the bad guy. He's the good guy in that movie. He's the one that deserves a title shot. He fought his way to the top, and he deserves a title shot. He's not the bad guy. He's going after something that legitimately he should be going after. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. They have him, like, you know, of course he's going to be angry. You're ducking him. You know, he's up there trying to insult you about taking your wife, you know, to bed. But he's only doing that to get you angry so that you fight him. Well, Clubber Lang was the good guy in that movie. You know, and how Rocky had no idea that this guy was ranked #1 in the world. I mean, what profession are you in? What are you, a plumber? I mean, maybe if I asked my mother right now who's the top ranked fighter in the heavyweight division today in the world, she would not know that. But if my mother was heavyweight champion of the world, and I said to her, who's #1 right now beneath you, she would know that. She would say, oh yeah, the guy with the mohawk, chains around his neck. So I don't know, I found that ridiculous. And in today's world in boxing, if there's you know, a #1 contender, #2, #3, #4, #5, whatever, and the governing bodies, the sanctioning bodies decide that, hey, he's worth, you know, given a chance at the title, and you said no as champ, they would strip you of that title before you had a chance to blink. I mean, you would be like, what happened to my title? They would take it away from you. You don't have an option now to duck people. Even George Foreman, when he became champ, beat Michael Moorer. I don't think you need the ER. It should just be Michael Moore. Everybody says it that way anyway. You don't hear anybody say Michael Moorer. It's just Michael Moore. So anyway, Michael Moore was beaten by George Foreman. I think Foreman was like 45 years old. I remember when I heard that, I was jumping up and down, and I don't jump up and down, but I was very happy that George Foreman, because I'm a big fan of Foreman. And when he won, I can't even tell you how happy I was. I was very happy Foreman won. But anyway, so it came up that he had a mandatory title defense against somebody in the top 10. And Foreman didn't want to fight that guy. Figured, I can fight someone else and make the same money, and maybe I'll win and continue. And the sanctioning bodies stripped the title away, at least one of them. So you can't decide that. And that's the fair way of doing it. Become champ. You can't duck everybody and fight, the number 250th ranking guy, like the champion of Germany. Times have changed. And plus, in the old days, it was, I don't know in the Rocky reality, but in the reality that we lived in, there was only one champion in 8 weight divisions. One guy at the top in 8 weight divisions. Now there's like, I don't know, 500 weight divisions, and there's like 600 champions. They all have these alphabet sanctioning bodies, WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC, and there's many more. So, like when Joe Louis was champ, there was one sanctioning body, and he was a champ. That was it. There was no one else. It wasn't like Joe Louis is one champ, and then you had like 3 other guys claiming to be champ. And, even Hagler at the time, when he was champ, there were many sanctioning bodies, but he was undisputed. So his title was unified because he beat all the other guys that had a piece of the belt. I went to buy a new magazine today, Boxing, Ringside, KO, I don't know if it was Ringside or KO, whichever one they used to carry at this place I go, and the guy says to me, or he said to me, we don't have that anymore. I think it's online only. When I buy a magazine, I want to hold it and open it up and have it physically in my hands to look at, I come from the old days where that's the way magazines were. Now it's all online. And even Men's Journal. I used to buy Men's Journal, now it's online. Well, they save paper, but some things are better now, some things were better back then. For example, music. Okay, there are good songs now, but in the old days, the top 40 songs were mainly played by humans. Now, a lot of these new songs are all computer-generated songs, and there's very little, of a human being playing in there. That's it. This is just a little. So, yeah, the guitar solo is obsolete. What happened to the guitar solo? Nobody has a guitar solo anymore. Now they have some kind of sound in there. It could be a rap guy, could be just synthesizers or drum beats, but guitar solo, no. I got a little funny story about the guitars there. So one time, many years ago, I was sitting at a table writing. A table like this, I was writing in a yellow legal notepad. I was writing a story. And there was a band, an orchestra. This was under the London Bridge in Lake Havasu, Arizona. So I would go down every morning and I would write all day at this table, and the band was there for like a week, the orchestra. And there was an old guy doing the conducting, and every once in a while he would talk to the 5 people that were there. I was one of the 5, listening, but I was there all day. I would get there in the morning and I would sit there all the way until the sun went down. So one day he was saying that, all right, LAPD. One day he was sitting there and he was telling us a story about how when he was young, nobody thought that the guitars, the string instruments, would take over music. He goes, that was laughable back then, you know, because back then it was like, you know, saxophones, trombones, the horns, you know, all that stuff. That's what was dominating. Glenn Miller style music. You know, the Hit Parade, that was it. And then he said somewhere around, you know, late 50s, guitar started to sneak in there. And he goes, everybody that he was associated with, all the musicians, they was like, that's not going to last. They thought it was going to be the, you know, trumpets and things like that, clarinets playing, constantly dominating. And then all of a sudden, 1964 rolls around, and all the horns, all the wind instruments, they went out the window, and they were replaced by bass, drums, guitar, and maybe a little tambourine. And that lasted up until recent times, you know, and then all of a sudden the computers rolled in, and everybody started making music using computer sounds. And the electric guitar, I mean, yeah, it's still around, but top 40, you don't hear much of the electric guitar anymore, which is sad, because I like the guitar. So anyway, all right, I'm going to light up the grill and start cooking here. That's it.